Informatio here. Hope you're all well and coping with this heat. Welcome to Marathon Wednesday, the day where we, tackle those big catalogues of bands. Today is a viewer's request, and we're looking at the legendary rock band from New Jersey, Bon Jovi. Formed in 1983 in Sayreville in New Jersey by John Bon Jovi. Lots of people have played, especially at the beginning, but you had the solid lineup of John Bon Jovi on vocals, David Bryan on the keyboards, Richie Sambora on the guitars, Alec John Such, who sadly died not very long ago, on the bass, and Tico Torres on the drums. Obviously Richie left, Alex quit the band, so they brought in Phil X on guitars, and Hugh McDonald, who's been around for a long time, on the bass as well. They've also been they were accredited to bridging that gap between metal and pop with style and ease. 15 albums up to date. Been a big fan of John and Bon Jovi. I was one of them people that first heard them on the Friday Rock Show when they played their set list, when they supported Kiss, and I think the version I heard was done at the Ipswich Gaumont. That exists now on Kiss's tour. I've seen them a few times. I like most of their albums. I think there's only a couple that I'm really not keen on, but most of the albums are just good, honest rock pop, American rock style albums. So let's get a cracking. So coming in at number 15 then, we have the 15th and most current album, which is 2020, released in 2020. So we've got John Bon Jovi on here, Phil X on the guitars, Hugh McDonald. Now I do believe this is the first one that is actually accredited as a member of Bon Jovi, an official member. Tico Torres on the drums and David Bryan on the keyboards. First track on here is called Limitless, probably the best song on the album. John doesn't sound too bad on this one. It's a pretty solid track. Do What You Can, it's not too bad. Vocals are not too bad on that one. American Reckoning, unfortunately, and I do say this with great sadness, and as I always talk about this is not taking the mickey out of John Bon Jovi, but his voice on here sounds flat as a pancake. He cannot hit any notes. It is such a shame. Beautiful Drug, I don't mind the opening riff on this from Phil X. It's pretty mediocre track then. Really, it's not that brilliant. Story of Love, I like the tune, I like the arrangement, but unfortunately it's John's vocal that lets the song down. Let me get Let It Rain. Again, it's a really good song, but it's the vocal performance that just lets it down. Lower the Flag. Oh, this is cringe-worthy stuff, this is. I don't like patriotic political songs, and that's what that is. Blood in the Water, nice tune, but poor John. Brothers in Arms, this one isn't too bad. What I like about this, they've actually made a song that John can sing. There's no high notes, and he does a pretty good job on that. Then we get Unbroken. It's a good tune. Nice guitar work from Phil. I don't mind that track. This album is such a shame because this is the album that John's voice really did suffer. Does make me feel sad, and I'm not saying that with any malice. I wish he would sort his, hope he gets his voice sorted, or just say thank you, but I'm retiring. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 4.5. Okay then, coming in number 14, we've got the 14th album, released in 2016, This House Is Not For Sale. This is the first album with Phil X on guitars. And this is actually, I got it wrong, this is the first album that Hugh McDonald was officially membered, but he'd been playing with the band since 1994. So we've got John Bon Jovi, Phil X, Hugh McDonald, Tico Torres and David Byron. First track on this one is the title track, This House Is Not For Sale. I like this track. It's a really catchy tune. Phil X's guitar work is pretty good on. He's a good guitarist, but does he... Now, I'm not going to get into arguments about that, but I do prefer another guitarist in this band. And John doesn't sound too bad on this. Living with the Ghost, it's okay, but it lacks something maybe, called Richie Sambora. Knockout, nothing special about this, it's just bog standard rock music. Labour of Love, my favourite track on this one. Got a great bass line from Hugh and a good vocal from John on that. Born Again, oh, I don't like this. It's a bad tune. It just even sounds like Bon Jovi in my opinion. So we'll move on. Roller Coaster. This is the first track I really noticed John's voice was starting to crack. He was struggling on some of the higher notes. New Year's Day. This is a track, and there's a lot of tracks on this album that all sound the same. There's none of some of these tracks have got no identity. They're all the same, and that is one of them. The Devil's The Devil's in the Temple. Like the opening riff, but again, it's poor old John's voice. It's not as bad as on 2020, but it's starting to go. Scars on this guitar just sounds like New Year's Day, to be quite honest. God Bless This Mess. Again, it just, all these tracks seem to roll into one towards the back. Reunion, it is a better tune. It's quite a catchy tune as well, and it's nice. Come Up to Our House. Again, John didn't hit some of the notes, but it has got a great solo from Phil X on it. Not a bad track to end the album. Again, this album is pretty dull. That's the only way. There's no, all the tracks apart one or two just roll into one. There's no difference. There's no identity, and it's quite boring in places. I know there's a lot of people out there that like this album, but it just didn't do anything for me. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.5, and it's an album I very rarely listen to. Okay, then coming in at number 13, we go to the 12th album released in 2013, What About Now? This is the last album that featured Richie Sambora. So it's John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, Tico Torres, David Bryan, additional personnel, Hugh McDonald on the bass, David Campbell on string arranger and conductor. So the first track on here is called Because We Can. I think this is one of them typical opening tracks of a Bon Jovi album. Got some great riffs from Richie, the backing vocals and the harmonies, pretty solid on that. Good track. On With You, it's a reasonable track, got some nice guitar work from Richie on it though, really good. What About Now, solid track. Pictures of You, it's a little bit lackluster in on it, although the guitar work is good. It's the only really good thing I like on that. Amen, never been keen on this. Just something about it I don't like. That's What the Water Made Me. Some great drumming here from Tico. Plus you get some great guitar licks from Mr. Sambora. What's Left of Me. Love the harmonies between Richie and John on this. And I've got this feeling that if Richie hadn't left the band, the albums where John's voice started to go, I think Richie would have been an asset to John, help him sing these songs. It's just a shame it didn't happen. Then we get Army of One. David's keyboards in this are brilliant, along with Tico's drumming. It's not a bad track at all. Thick as Thieves. This is one of them tracks that I think Richie carries John's vocal. He doesn't carry it, he sort of helps out. It's a really good track. Beautiful World, bit of a filler on this, doesn't do anything for me. Room at the End of the World, this just seems like they're going through the motions here, just lacklustre. The Fighter, a song that I've never been keen on. And that was the last track on the album. I think this is an album that they are going through the motions. You can see the cracks appearing on this album. It's an album I don't go to very often, but when I do listen to it, I go, yeah, it's not bad. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 12 is the 13th album, released in 2015, Burning Bridges. This is an album consisting of new songs as well as formerly unreleased and unfinished songs, and it's the first album to not feature Richie Sambora on it. So we've got John Bon Jovi on here, Tico Torres and David Bryan. Additional personnel again, Hugh McDonald as ever on the bass, and producer and now touring member John Shanks on guitars and backing vocals. First track on here is called A Teardrop to the Sea. I love this track. This is probably one of my favourite post Sambora Bon Jovi tracks. Love John's vocal in this. It's a really strong one. Great bass line from Hugh McDonald, and the guitar solo from John Shanks on here is really good. We Don't Run. This is the first track of that what I call the new sound of Bon Jovi. It's okay, it's nothing special. Saturday Night Gave Me Sunday Morning, not keen on this one. Again, it's that new sort of sound, and I'm not too keen on it. Blind Love, I love this song. What makes this song is David Byron's keyboards. He's a very good pianist. He's a very good writer as well. He does a lot of Broadway shows in America, writes scores for shows and that. So he's a very talented chap. Excellent track that is. But he makes that track. Who Would You Die For? Lots of atmosphere on this track. I really like this. The drumming from Tico is great, and a really good solo from John Shanks. Absolutely good stuff on that. Fingerprints, it's not very good. The only good thing about it is the guitar solo. Life is Beautiful. Okay, we've got some of that chanting on it. It's alright. Bit of an anthem song really. I'm Your Man, got a nice catchy tune and melody, really like that. Then the final track is the title track, Burning Bridges. I like this. It's like a country stomp, sort of thing you'd get from Bob Dylan, Tom Petty. It's a pretty good track. I think this is probably the best album Bon Jovi did without Richie Sambora. It's got some really good songs on, and I think John Shanks did a great job on this. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6.5. Excuse me, folks. Right, coming in at number 11 then. Let's go to 2009. For the 11th album, The Circle. This is John, Richie, Tico, David, Hugh McDonald again on the bass, and Charlie Judge does additional keyboards. First track on this one, We Weren't Born to Follow. I like this track, always have. It's a catchy tune. It's got some great guitar work, and it's one of them typical opening tracks to a Bon Jovi album. When We Were Beautiful. This isn't too bad. It's quite listenable. Don't mind that one at all. Working for the Man. Love the bass line from Hugh McDonald on this one. Sorry, I'm being interrupted by the gardeners who look after the gardens around my flat. Being noisy. Yeah. This track has got something about living on the prayer field to it, so it's not too bad. Superman Tonight, great uplifting track, really good vocal from John on this, great track. Then we get my favourite track on the album, Bullet. This has got great Richie Sambora riffs, great stuff. Thorn in My Side, great guitar work again from Richie, really makes this track. Live Before You Die, sorry. I think at this stage John was still good at the rockers, but the ballads, this is where his voice did start to go a little bit. Although the piano work on this from David Byron is phenomenal. Broken Promised Land, it's okay, it's just a typical Bon Jovi track, nothing wrong with it. Love's the Only Rule, this is an old-fashioned Bon Jovi track, some great riffs from Richie, great drumming, some super keyboards as well, excellent stuff. Fast Cars, this is not too bad. I like the delicate guitar work here from Richie, nice track. Happy Now, another of those slow solid tracks, nothing wrong with that one. Learn to Love, I've never liked this, it is just wishy-washy, not the best way to end the album. To me, this is probably the last of the really good Bon Jovi albums. Got some solid tracks on here. It's a really good listen, and I enjoy listening to that. I haven't listened to it for a little while, but when I listened to it to do this, quite enjoyed it. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.8. Okay then, coming in at number 10, we've got the 10th album, released in 2007, Lost Highway. Again, John, Richie, Tico, David, Hugh on the bass, and the first track on here is the title track, Lost Highway. Love this. Even though it's got a country feel to this song, it's modern country rock, and I really like that track. Then we get Summertime. Love the riffs in this. Really strong song. Tico's drumming is great on this. You Want to Make Me a Memory, it's not too bad. Bit of a ballady thing, but a really nice guitar solo from Richie Sambora on that one. Whole Lot of Leaving, I love this track. The acoustic guitar on this is really, really good. We Got It Going On, this features Big Kenny and John Rich. Love this. Big and Rich Best on this album, on this track. Great little rocker, the bass line is good. It's a terrific song. Another Day, solid track, very catchy uplifting song. Seat Next to You, not keen on this one. It is too country. It's not a country, you know, Bon Jovi do country, proper country is not good. Everyone's Broken, it's not too bad. Till We Ain't Strangers Anymore, I don't mind this track. Leanne Rimes sings on this, and she does a good vocal with John, not too bad at all. The Last Night, another good track. Very Tom Petty feel to this. And Hugh's bass line is terrific on that one. One Step Closer, like the guitar work on this. Some nice harmonies between John and Richie on that one. I Love This Town, mediocre. I think this is John Bon Jovi trying to sound like Bruce Springsteen. Leave that to the boss, John. Great, not a bad way to end the album. Yeah, solid, really good tracks on this, and I do enjoy listening to this one, even though it was a little bit of a different departure for Bon Jovi. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 9, we get to the 7th album, released in the year 2000, Crush. So we've got John on here, Richie, Tico, David, Hugh. Other musicians on here, we've got Michael Durchin, who did some backing vocals, and David Campbell did the string arrangements. First track is the big hit, It's My Life. It's got the vocoder on this, which I've always enjoyed. Richie really likes using that. Great keyboard work from David. The video to this isn't bad either. I don't mind that track at all. Saying It Isn't So, pretty good rocker this is. Opening riff from Richie is fantastic. Great track. Thank You for Loving Me, a very dreary ballad in my opinion. Does nothing for me. Two Story Town, I do like Richie Sambora's guitar work on this one. Very good vocal from John, very quirky track. Next, 100 Years. Love the beginning of this, again a really great Richie Sambora riff, and there's some great backing vocals on this, very good. Just Older, just one of them typical Bon Jovi solid tracks, nothing wrong with that. Mystery Train, another very solid track. Save the World, this is another ballad. There's quite a few on this album, and the guitar work actually from Richie is very good. Then we get Captain Crash and the Beauty Queen from Mars. This is quite different. It's a little bit David Bowie here, Ziggy Stardust, etc. That's a good thing. Then we get my favourite track on here. It's a Mystery. Love the sound on this. That bass is so deep. Some delicate guitar work from Richie. It's a really good track. Then we get I Got the Girl. Although it's not a bad tune, but for some reason John's voice does sound a little groggy on this. Then we get One Wild Night to end the album. Love the bass line on this. This is a great rock track. It was so long, it's good. I think this is one of them tracks that sounds even better live. Good album this is, really good tracks. Play this one quite a lot. I think it's one of their best albums from the 2000s as well. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay, then coming in at number 8, we have the 8th album, released in 2002, and it is Bounce. Got John on here, Richie, Tico, David and Hugh. Got Jerry Cohen that does some music and he doesn't say what he does. We've got Andres Carlson, Samuel Warmo, David Campbell and Luke Ebbin does some orchestral. Undivided's the first track. My favourite track on the album, second favourite track on the album, sorry. Just love that dirty riff from Richie on this. It's a terrific track. Then we get Everyday. It's catchy, it's got a vocoder on it. Love that, really is a strong track. The Distance, it's got a great opening riff from Richie. Nice bass line from Hugh as well, solid track. Joey, not a particular favourite of mine, although I do like the solo from Richie on it. Misunderstood, solid track, very nice track. Mediocre-ish, but it's okay, we can live with that one. All About Loving You, Now this has got a drum machine on. Why? I don't know. But it's not too bad. Hook Me Up. Love this track. It is my favourite. Hits heavy, booming bass, great drumming from Tico. Excellent song. Right Side of Wrong. One of the better ballads from John Bon Jovi that he wrote, and they do a good version on it. Love Me Back to Life. This has got some great keyboard work from David on this. Fantastic track, like that one. You Had Me from Hello. I love the acoustic guitar on this from Richie. Really nice song. And then he puts in a fine guitar solo on that one as well. Bounce, the title track. Great bass line. Solid track. Open All Night. I don't like this ballad. Some of the ballads by this band are good, bad or indifferent, but this has got a good solo in it. That's the only thing. Okay, another solid album. Listen to this a lot as well. I've got some really heavy tracks on this, probably some of the heaviest tracks in their catalogue, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay then, coming in at number 7, we go to the 9th album released in 2005, Have a Nice Day. Usual people on here: John, Richie, Tico, David and Hugh. Paul Buckmaster is doing some strings, David Campbell is. Jennifer Nettles does some duos with John, and Jonathan Eukin does fiddle and mandolin on the first track. The track is the title track, Have a Nice Day. This is just a great track. Nice catchy tune. Nice use of fiddle and mandolin on it. It's a brilliant track. I Want to Be Loved. Great riffs from Richie again. Tico's drumming is solid on this. Really heavy drums on that. Welcome to Wherever You Are. A little bit radio friendly, but it's not a bad track actually. Very catchy. Who Says You Can't Go Home. Bit more poppy rock for me, but it's quite catchy. I don't mind that. Last Man Standing. Awesome track. Some great drumming from Tico on this. Really keeps the beat going on it. I really love that track. The Bells of Freedom. I'm not keen on this. Co-wrote by Desmond Child. It's not very good. Wildflower. Solid enough track. Last Cigarette. Like this track. I like the gentle start, and then it goes into some great rock riffs from Richie. Solid track. I Am, another solid track. Love the riffs in this. Complicated. Really good track. Great backing vocal from Richie Sambora, and I love Tico's drumming on this as well. Another good drumming track from Tico. Novocaine. It's one of them gentle starts, but it's a solid track. Again, Story of My Life, another of those gentle starts tracks. Some great little riffs from Richie. Turns into a really good rocker. Who Says You Can't Come Home. This is with Jennifer Nettles. It's one of the highlights of the album. It's a really good song. Really like that song. Good way to end the album. Now, this to me is their best album from the 2000s. It's got some great tracks on it. It really rocks. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.8. Okay then, coming in at number 6. Released in 1995, and it is These Days. This is the first album that Bon Jovi released after the dismissal of Alec John Such, and this is the first album that Hugh McDonald played on. So it's John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, Tico Torres, David Bryan and Hugh McDonald. Opens up with a Hey God, my favourite track on this album. Love the guitar work on this from Richie, it's amazing. Absolute belter of a track. Something for the Pain. This is one of the better songs that Desmond Child wrote. It's got a catchy tune, great riffs from Richie. This Ain't a Love Song. This one's alright. Some nice guitar work, nothing special. These Days. I've always liked this track. It's just a really nice catchy tune, great vocal from John and some great guitar work from Richie. Lie to Me, a little bit wishy-washy, don't like it. Damned, great rocker. Richie Sambora's solo on this is absolutely mind-blowing, one of his best. Then we get My Guitar Lies Bleeding in My Arms. Again, some more amazing guitar work from Richie Sambora. Lovely track. It's Hard Letting You Go. Like this one, the strings really add to this. It's a pretty good guitar work as well. Then we get Hearts Breaking Even. Slow sort of bluesy rocker. Love the guitar solo in that. It's a good track. Something to Believe In. Never liked that one. If That's What It Takes. Some more great guitar work from Richie Sambora on that one. Solid track. Diamond Ring, the last track. This is a nice acoustic song. Great guitar work from Richie. Again, this is a really good album. It's got a good mixture of the slower songs and the rockier songs. Some of their best ballads from the band are on this, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 5, we get to the second album released in 1985, 7,800 degrees Fahrenheit. This album, of course, features the original, the classic lineup: John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, Alec John Such on the bass, Tico Torres on the drums, and David Bryan on the keyboards. First track, In and Out of Love, great track. Mid-80s hair metal track, great guitar work from Richie, solid track. The Price of Love, solid track, love guitar work from Richie on this, some great licks. Only the Lonely, it's a typical 80s radio friendly track, isn't it? But it has got a good riff. King of the Mountain, love Alex's bass line in this, great track, and some great drumming from Tico. Silent Night, very MTV for me, not one of my favourite tracks. Then we get my favourite track, another big hit, Tokyo Road. I love this, I love the start of this. Well, it's one of my favourite tracks by Bon Jovi. I like that da 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 da, and then you go, great stuff. Hardest Part of the Night, love that opening riff, and the keyboards on this are really good. Excellent track. Always Run to You, one of the great little rockers on this album. Although it's got lots of 80s production, it's still good. To the Fire. Take that horrible keyboard sound at the beginning and you've got an absolutely belting track. Tico's drumming on this is pretty impressive. Secret Dreams, a typically early Bon Jovi track with a great opening riff, really good solo. This album, it was very, very hard to follow up a good debut. Most bands struggle with it sometimes, but there are some really good tracks on this. I mean, when this came out, I played it a lot, but it is a little bit dated now with some of the songs, but I've got quite a little bit of affection for this one, so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, then coming in at number 4, we have the fifth album released in 1992. It's the last album for Alec John Such. and it's Keep the Faith. We've got John on here, Richie, Alec, Tico and David. Opens up with I Believe. Solid guitar work, great way to open the album with. Really great vocal from John on this. Then we get the title track, Keep the Faith. Love the start from this. Get some delicate touches on the guitar from Richie. Alex's bass line on this track is solid, absolutely brilliant. Then we get my favourite track on the album, I'll Sleep When I'm Dead. Another Desmond Child song, but it is a great rocker. Love this. In These Arms, cheesy lyrics, but it's not a bad little track. Bed of Roses. I don't like this. It's one of the worst songs I ever wrote. I know there's a lot of people that love this, but I don't. I just can't. I think it's horrible. If I Was Your Mother. This is brilliant. I love the heavy drumming from Tico and Alex. Great bass line. Brilliant stuff. Dry County, sorry. Love this. One of their long tracks. I just love the arrangement on this. John's vocal on this is superb. It's a terrific track. Then we get Woman in Love, another of them little catchy tunes that the band does. Great track. Fear. Great bass line from Alec. Great track. The drumming on this is superb. I Want You. That's alright. Nothing special. Then we get Blame It on the Love of Rock and Roll. That's a great track. Great little rocker. Great vocal from John on that one. Terrific stuff. And then we get the last track, a little bit of soul. Love this. Great solo from Richie. Solid track. Love this one. I think this is Bon Jovi's best album from the 90s without a doubt. Got some great rockers on it. There's a couple of tracks here that don't do it for me, but on the whole this is such a solid, damn good album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 3, we go to 1984 for the debut album Bon Jovi. Now, this has got all sorts of people on here. So, you got the main solid band of John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, Alec John Such, Tico Torres, and actually David Bryan goes under his full name, David Rashbaum. But on here there are some additional musicians. Hugh McDonald plays the bass on Runaway. And Roy Bittan plays keyboards on Runaway. Got Chuck Berge from Rainbow, done some additional drums. Doug Castros doing additional keyboards. Aldo Nova additional guitars. Now Tim Pierce is a guitarist who plays guitar on Runaway, not Richie Sambora. David Graham backing vocals and Mick Seeley. Opens up with Runaway. It's quite funny with this track. The only person that actually plays on this with John and recorded is Hugh McDonald. But he left after that, and Alex John came in. They got rid of Alex. Well, I think he was dismissed, and they brought Hugh back in. That's what according to Wikipedia says, but do you believe everything that Wikipedia say? But it's a great track. It's a classic track. Really like that one. Then we get Roulette. I love Richie's guitar work on this. It's a really good track. Solid stuff. She Don't Know Me. Okay, the words are a little bit cheesy, but it's a really good track. Shot Through the Heart. Love this. Love the bass line from Alex. Some great drumming. And then we got Tico Torres on the drums. And I do apologise, the Garners are making a row. Then we get Love Lies, one of the really good ballads, not bad. Then we get my favourite track of this album, Breakout. Great vocal from John, and David's keyboards are brilliant on this. Superb stuff. Then we get Burning for Love. Now this is the track that I think Richie Blackmore ripped off Highway Star guitar solo, but it seems to fit, so it's alright. Then we get Come Back. This is a good track. Great guitar work from Richie Sambora. Love that track. Get Ready. Another little heavy track. The guitar work from Richie on this is terrific. I like that one a lot. Well, when this album, I listened to that radio on the Friday Rock Show, loved it, went and brought the album, and I love this album. We've mentioned this before on this channel, but it's just a great album. I think it's stood the test of time, and it is still one of my favourite albums, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.1. So we got to the top two. Now there's not much between these two. They're both good albums. So this, these could swap over any time. So for today, we're going to go with number 2. We'll go with the third album, released in 1986, Slippery When Wet. This is John, Richie, Alec, Tico and David. Also we got saxophone from Tom Keenslide. And Hugh McDonald actually plays the bass on Living on a Prayer, believe it or not. Backing vocals Mick Reno on Living on a Prayer. So the first track is Let It Rock. Cracking open to a track. The keyboards on this are brilliant. Then you get a great riff from Richie Sambora. Absolutely brilliant track. Then we get You Give a Love a Bad Name. I loved it when it come out, but it's played to death. When you get these compilations, there are 2 tracks that appear on it. It's this one and the next one. It's alright. I prefer this out of the 2 though. It's when you listen to it, it is a good track on the whole, but it just gets played to death. Then we get Living on a Prayer. I love the vocoder in it, but it's one of them tracks, if I never hear it again, I'm not going to lose sleep over that one. Social Disease, catchy riff. Love Tico's drumming on this, really good track. Then this is probably one of my favourite tracks by Bon Jovi. It's the brilliant Wanted Dead or Alive. Okay, it's another song that's played to death, but as I keep saying, sometimes there's a reason they get played to death, because they're brilliant. I just love the song. I don't know what about it. I think it's the cowboy story. The guitar work is brilliant, and I think this is one of Richie Sambora's best guitar solos ever. Seen when they do this live, it is amazing. Brilliant track. Then we get Raise Your Hands, just one of them great opening track riffs. Great track. I think one tour I saw them, they opened with this, and it's absolutely stonking way to open the show. Brilliant track. Then we get Without Love. It's more of that MTV radio friendly nonsense. I don't like that track at all. I'd Die For You. They nicked some of the keyboards from Runaway on this, I think, but it doesn't matter, it's a catchy track. Never Say Goodbye, again, very MTV. I think MTV ruined some rock bands. It's absolutely. I just think it's MTV junk. Wild in the Streets. Okay, it's very sounding keyboards, but who cares? It's a great little rocker. Okay, this has got a lot of MTV friendly stuff on here, but it's an album. When it came out, I was what, early 20s, late teens, early 20s, and I play this album a hell of a lot when it comes on. I've got a very good fondness for this. When I listen to it, I don't listen to it as much as I used to, but when I do put it on, I really enjoy listening to this. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.4. Okay, my number one. Again, these two can swap. So it's the fourth album from 1988, and it is New Jersey. Usual suspects on here, of course: John, Richie, Alec, Tico and David. But we've got some additional musicians on here. We've got cello players Scott Fairburn and Audrey Nordwell. And Bruce Fairburn does some additional percussion and horn. Opens up with Lay Your Hands on Me. This is probably one of the best opening tracks, A, on the album, and B, on that tour. Incredible stuff. Great track. Great riffs. Awesome vocal from John on that. Brilliant. Then we get Bad Medicine. Probably one of my favourite singles from the band. It's a catchy tune. Great vocal. Solid stuff. Then we get Born to Be My Baby. Okay, it was a single again, but it's a solid track and I love it. It's a great vocal from John. Then we get Living in Sin. I don't mind this. It's not a particularly favourite of mine, but I know there's a lot of people that love that track. Blood on Blood. This is one of my favourite tracks. Tells the story of a band. Don't know if it's about his friendship with Richie. It's the bit when I'm a long-haired singer in a rock and roll band. Great stuff. Love that track. Then we get my favourite track on this album, Homebound Train. I love this. I love that opening riff from Richie, and it's got some of Tico's best drumming, and I love that boogie shuffle that it comes with it. It's a really good track. Then we get Wild is the Wind. I like the verses in this. They're really good verses, but it's the chorus is a little bit cheesy, but it's still a good track. Then we get Ride Cowboy Ride. I like this. It's very short. It's probably because I like how it sounds like you're listening to it through a radio. It's a cowboy song and I love it. But that goes nicely into Stick to Your Guns. I love the opening riff. Very Wanted Dead or Alive feel to it as well. It's a really, really good track. And then this is a track that might shock a lot of people. Everyone seems to like this except me. I'll Be There For You. I do like the opening bit with the guitar though. It's really good. Then we get 99 in the Shade. Nice little rock track that's got some nice guitar work from Richie. I love the licks in this. And the album ends up with them little nonsense tracks. Love for Sale. I think this is a lot of fun. John saying he's got to go home. It's a great little way to end this album. Okay, I think this is when Bon Jovi were at their peak and at their almighty best. If I'm going to be honest, I don't think they ever really made another album quite as good as this after it. All the other albums are good, but for me, Slippery When Wet and New Jersey are the pinnacle of their career. Okay, there's a couple on here that I'm not really fond of, but this is probably John's finest vocal performance of all the albums It's such a strong voice, and I think that's why it suffers now. He didn't look after that voice. I mean, the Slippy Ren Wet and this album, he really is his best singing. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.5. Well, I got through that one all right. Sorry about all the noises, folks, but if it had been at the beginning of the recording, I'd have stopped. But as I was near the end, I thought, no, we'll carry on. Wasn't too bad. So that's all for today. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. And if you're watching this for the first time and you like it, why not subscribe? Because there's plenty of sort of music like this on the channel. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow, and we have got a good battle of the debuts for you tomorrow. We've got Metallica versus Megadeth, band that was fired. Dave Mustaine was fired from, and he said, right, I'm going to make a better album than yours. They've sort of had that rivalry, but then now they're all good friends, which is great because they've done a tour together on that Big Four thing. So I'm looking forward to that one. And tomorrow's album artwork is one of my favourite American progressive rock bands, Kansas. So join us for that. Have a good day. Keep cool, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.